Welcome to Gateshead in the northeast of England, where today over 1,500 of the most talented young athletes in England compete for their county at the English Schools Championships. Now in its 86th year, this championship is as important as ever in creating the next generation of world-beating British athletes.
So fresh how we flow, everybody get this down from us. Was a kid with the other little kids, now I'm ripping up shows and the fans going wild with us. Tell mommy I'm sorry, this life is a party.
Hello and welcome to the Aviva English Schools Track and Field Athletics Championships, live from the Gateshead International Stadium. Now, athletics at its very best when the result really matters to every single one of the athletes competing. And that's certainly the case here in Gateshead, because for these young athletes, this really does represent the pinnacle of their sporting career to date. Now, we have a really intense afternoon of fast-flowing athletics ahead. Some 34 events in total are featured over the next 4 hours. But before we dive into the action, let's just take a quick look at how the age groups work here at the English Schools. There are 3 age groups for both girls and boys. Junior, intermediate and senior. They correlate to school years, but basically the junior age group is under 15, the intermediate age group is under 17 and the senior age group is under 19. That's how the age groups work. Let's take a glance at the timetable of events coming up as well today. Good spread of events today. We'll start with the track action. Let me try and pick out 1 or 2 highlights for you. 2:49 intermediate boys 400 metres final. This featured an awesome talent in Clovis Asong. The championship best performance could be under threat here. Moving on, 3:32 intermediate girls 1500 metres final. We'll see Jessica Judd go for her 3rd consecutive schools title here. Jessica, surely one of the most talented athletes on show here in Gateshead. 6 minutes past 4, senior girls 800 metres final could be one of the most competitive events of the day, with any one of 4 or 5 athletes potentially starting as favourite. And from 5:15 onwards, we finish the track programme with a series of sprint relays, which are always an exciting spectacle. Let's look at the field now. 5 events featured in total, a couple to pick out I think. Well, 2:30 senior boys javelin final. Joe Dunderdale starts as favourite. He's coached by former schools champion, actually the record holder in this event, David Parker, so we might just see that record of his coach being threatened by Joe today. And at 4 o'clock, senior boys triple jump. Should be a great clash between 2 super talented young athletes, Jonathan Ilore and James Okayami. I'm delighted to be joined by 2 former Olympic 400 metre runners, also former, of course, English Schools champions, Catherine Merry and Mark Richardson. Welcome. Catherine, just start by explaining how important today's event is for these athletes.
It's massive. They're not seeing past the end of the day. It's all about these last 2 days and this afternoon in particular, because they just want to perform and they just want to do well. And I think you can bring in athletes like me or bring athletes in like Mark and say to them, this is a platform, guys. This could hopefully lead you on to bigger and better things in the future, but they're not interested in that. It's all about today. They want to perform this afternoon. So, of course, it's very, very important. And I'm sure we're going to see some super performances from maybe some of the stars of the future this afternoon.
And Mark, if you think back to your days as an English Schools athlete, how vivid are the memories? How important to you was it?
It's almost like it was yesterday, so I'm sure the same for Catherine. We came into the stadium, we started to savour some of the atmosphere. I can remember vividly just when I was in that age, it was the first time that I stepped into such a high-performance environment. The fact that there's so many athletes, over 1,500 athletes, something like 45 county associations, the sheer scale, stature of the event is just enormous. So it means so much, and it lives with you long into the future.
And Mark, just remind us of some of the big names who went on to be Olympic champions that started here.
It's literally a cast of thousands, the likes of Daley Thompson, Sally Gunnell, Linford Christie, Darren Campbell, Steve Cram have all performed in this environment, and they all, I guess they learnt some of their competitive DNA, so building that mental resilience, building that onboard computer which help them to become champions of yesteryear.
And Catherine, just mark our cards in terms of today's talent. Is there anyone you're particularly looking forward to seeing in action?
So many. Where'd you start? Into girls 1500 metre final though. Jessica Judd from Essex looked awesome in qualifying yesterday. I'm really looking forward to, one, to seeing if she wins, two, and how fast she runs. And she's going off to the World Youth Championships this week as well in Lille. She's so good. She's trying to do so many championships. So yeah, Jessica Judd for me. I'm very excited about seeing how she gets on.
And from the boys' perspective, Mark?
Well, in the inter boys 400 metres, Clovis A-Song, I mean, there's stories circulating around the sport. There's an air of expectation. He's coming in as the clear favourite, and it's going to be really interesting to see how he deals with that pressure. So he's a very precocious young talent. I'm looking forward to seeing how he lives up to that.
Looking forward to it. Thanks very much for your input. Look forward to speaking to you throughout the afternoon. It's a gorgeous day here in Gateshead. Let's get the action underway now. Intermediate boys 400 metre hurdles is our first event, so let's join our commentary team. That's Mick Hill, Stuart Story, and first of all, good afternoon, Martin Gillingham.
Good afternoon, John. Well, over the years, British athletics has suffered its ups and downs on the Olympic and world stages. But throughout the last 80 years and more, there's been one constant: the quality of champions produced at this event, which I think it would be fair to say, Stuart, has always served as a reliable health check on the sport.
Well, certainly the English school is an important launch pad for future internationals. You've heard that before from Mark Richardson. Most of the British team appearing in 2012 will have been through this route to excellence. And of course, to the names that Mark Richardson mentioned, of course, Seb Coe at the helm of London 2012, Paula Radcliffe, and John Ridgen himself, of course, former winners of titles here. But the first event, as John has already said, the intermediate boys 400 metre hurdles. Martin Gillingham.
Well, Surrey dominate the inter-boys 400 metre hurdling scene these days. Jacob Paul, the defending champion, in lane 4, but inside him, in lane 3, Lolo Olawale Ojo, who beat Paul at the recent Surrey County Championships. So 8 athletes line up for this final. 400 metre hurdles, 10 barriers on the inside, which I think is the least favourable draw of all in the quarter hurdles. James Webster of Cheshire, he's got a lifetime best of 56.89. He set that here, though, in the heats. In lane 2, for Wiltshire, Reece Brown, 57.1, his best time in 2011, breaking 60 seconds for the first time this year. So here is one of the favourites, Lolo Olawale Ojo of Surrey, 53.74. He's ranked number 2 in Great Britain at this event in this age group. And outside him, a man who he's competed against many times. In fact, they've competed against one another 11 times over the course of the last 2 seasons. But significantly, Paul has been beaten only once by Ojo. So Jacob Paul is, without a doubt, the favourite. There he is, the defending champion. In lane 5, the man they'll be chasing, Cameron Dixon for Shropshire. He runs for the Oswestry Club. He's run 56.75. That's his lifetime best, and he's done that over the course of this weekend, so he is in the form of his life. Ty Healy is in lane 6, wearing that familiar sky blue vest of Kent. He's a Tunbridge Harrier. 56.18, his lifetime best, set in the heats here. The Kent Schools champion. In lane 7, Aidan Davis of South Yorkshire runs for the Doncaster Club, 56.93, his best time in this, his first season as a 400 metre hurdler. And on the outside, the Somerset Harry Hall of Taunton AC, 56.46. On the outside, he's the hare to chase, but the gentle bends do sometimes make that quite a favourable lane in which to run. But the lanes to keep your eyes on, 3 and 4. Ojo in 3, Paul in 4, wearing the familiar gold vests of Surrey. Not only do they run for the same county, but also for the same club, Epsom and Ewell.
Set.
Well, we get the afternoon underway with a false start. And I think it's an appropriate point, Stuart, to say that the false start rules are different at this level to senior competition.
Yes, they're using the old rule where each individual athlete has a yellow card, and so it's 2 false starts really. So let's just have a little look into, not entirely clear from that picture. One of the athletes, one of the 2 favourites, not using blocks, of course, so The starter will be the final arbiter. The block's not attached, as you can see. Lane 8 it is, I think. Yes, it is. Number 69 there, and lane 8 is Harry Hall.
I know there's a danger of getting a little self-indulgent on days like today, but back in my rather modest athletics career, I committed a false start on this track in an event. I blame the man outside. His name was Edwin Moses.
Well, the green card being raised there, and the green card indicates that it's not the responsibility of the athlete. So down they go, no fault with anyone.
So the starter assumes responsibility for that one. Let's go through the lineup again from the inside. Webster of Cheshire, Brown of Wiltshire, Olawale Ojo of Surrey, Paul of Surrey, Dixon of Shropshire, Healy of Kent, Davis of South Yorkshire, and Hall of Somerset. So the 45-metre run to the first barrier. They are the 2'9" hurdles in old money. And getting away quickly there in the sky blue of Kent is Healy. But the two men in the middle there, the long-striding champion, Jacob Paul, running down now towards the fourth flight, along with Davis and also Healy, wearing the colours there of Kent. But at that flight, the defending champion, Jacob Paul, you can see there, though, in lane 6, Healy, as they run round to hurdle 7. And Ojo, who beat Paul at the Surrey Championships, has got a lot of work to do over the last 3 barriers. I must say, Ojo's hurdling style there looking a little raw, and he stuttered into that one. But Jacob Paul, the defending champion, striding out here, meets the final barrier perfectly, and he's running away from his field. Keep your eye on the clock here. It's a fast time, 53.07 for Jacob Paul, just outside his lifetime best. But what will matter most to him, he's won his 2nd straight English Schools Inter-title.
Yeah, it was a good run, actually. He got away fairly steadily, but it was an even pace to 400-metre hurdles for him. He was nowhere near it at about 150 metres, and then gradually made up. But his best performance came between 200 and 300 metres. But let's have a look at him from the start. Hurdle technique, very good. Made room for these barriers quite well. And it's clear to me that Olawale, it's his first season over 400-metre hurdles, incidentally, as well, the contender. And it showed, really. This is good hurdling, good stride pattern, good momentum off the hurdle, little stutter there, but nevertheless this is the point at which he takes over. Tag Healy of Kent from the Tunbridge Club, they're just coming into shot, ran a very, very much faster first 200 metres, but this is the point at which things started to change, between 200 and 300 metres and into the home straight. A young man with great momentum off the last hurdle and through to the tape to take this title. Very, very fine run indeed, and fast time. The championship record is 52.63, wasn't too far away at 53.07.
And he's also learnt that valuable skill of alternating hurdling strides as well. In other words, taking one hurdle on the left leg lead and then the next one on the right, and that'll stand him in good stead for his later career, when his stride pattern will change as he gets faster and stronger. Well, there's our first champion. Let's join Mark Richardson, who's down there at trackside with the new champion.
Well, it's fantastic to be rubbing shoulders with the champion, Jacob. That was a very composed race.
Thank you.
How satisfying was that?
It was really good to win. Like as I said last year, I took the title then, and all I wanted to do is come back and retain my title. Time 53.07. It's not a PB, but I'm not too bothered about that. There's other opportunities later on this year to let's run quicker than that. And obviously, like, I'd like to thank my coach. I wouldn't be here without her. She's amazing, best coach, Marina Armstrong. Yeah, and I'll say thank you to my parents and my brother being so supportive. And happy birthday to Paul Cave. He's watching this somewhere. Like, he'll be happy with me for saying that. Happy birthday, 18th.
Well, fantastic. I'm getting a sense there's a massive support network around you. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, there's our champion for the 2nd straight year, Jacob Paul. Got a very level head on him, and he's certainly built for the events, isn't he, Stuart?
Yes, he is. He's a good athlete. He can run well, he can sprint well, and his hurdling technique is pretty good too. You've already made comment of that. He alternates well, which helps with the change down, certainly. Some will go further on one leg than others, but it's all about momentum off the hurdle and into the home straight in control. Well, let's have a look at the next race. It's the men of the senior boys 400 metre hurdles, and it's a very good race too. Barnshaw of Oxford in lane 1, Granger of Sussex in 2, Adams of Hampshire in 3, Horton of Lincolnshire in 4, Fitzgerald of Devon in 5, Morton of Kent in 6, Perry also of Kent in 7, and Simon Davis of Dorset in lane 8. Right on the inside, it's a very, very tight inside lane, never easy, with a best time of 54.93. Peter Barnshaw from the Abingdon Club won the Oxfordshire County title, was 4th in the Intermediate English Schools Championships last year. So George Granger of Sussex and Crawley Club, 55.80 his best last year, not quite as quick this year I have to say. He's in the second lane. The fastest qualifier thus far is Sean Adams, 54.79, a personal best this year. He's ranked 5th in the United Kingdom. Next young fella comes from Lincolnshire, Jack Horton, won the Anglian Schools this year, 54.93. His personal best set in the heat, incidentally, so he's in good form in 4th lane. Fitzgerald of Devon in the 5th lane. Won the Devon Stools, was 8th in 2009 in the intermediate hurdles event. He's been in the finals before. This is Craig Morton. Looks like the favourite for this race, 54.15 his best time. He's ranked 4th in Britain. And Charlie Perry also from Kent, both of these athletes from Kent. They don't belong to the same athletics club, incidentally, because Perry is Cambridge Harrier. Was 6th in the intermediate championship last year. And Simon Davis of Dorset, right on the outside in lane 8 in the Dorset title, was 4th in the intermediate championship last year. Morton perhaps the favourite, and Adams has a tighter inside lane, but Morton's lane 6 is quite favourable, I have to say that. So Barnshaw, Granger, Adams, Horton, Fitzgerald, Morton, Perry and Davis. The final of the senior boys 400 metres hurdles.
Set.
We'll see who rises first. Gone up pretty quickly right on the outside. Oh, there's a hit hurdle by the athlete in the favourite actually. Sean Adams hit that hurdle. Right on the inside, Adams in lane 3 going quite well indeed. Right on the outside though, the Charlie Perry going well, Morton right on the inside, not going too well at the moment, number 42, but no doubt he'll come through strongly in the final stages. Let's have a look at him. Number 41 there is Charlie Perry, going very strongly indeed. As they come off the bend now, we'll see who's going to come into the lead early in the... And right on the outside, this is going to be a pretty tight finish actually. Davis of Dorset going very strongly, but look at this, the favourite now coming through into the lead here. Davis of Dorset right on the outside. It's a very, very fine run by Davis right on the outside. It's going to be very close indeed between him and Adams. Adams gets it. It was close, just. And in second place was Simon Davis. And my goodness me, that was an interesting race, wasn't it? Very interesting indeed. Craig Morton really didn't get into that race at all. And that's a big surprise. But at 54.59 the time, and that was a tough run by Davis right on the outside. He was the hare, and my goodness me, have a little look. Have we got a photo finish, or did Adams get that? It's very, very tight. Let's have a look. Who got it? It's the torso, and it could be on the near side. It could be Simon Davis. It's the torso. It's the torso. Look at that. I think probably Davis has got that. Adams may well have been beaten. It's a very, very tight one, though. We'll have to wait. Let's have a look at it. Well, I reckon that could be a dead heat, you know, because the torso, it's the chest and the dip on the far side, it's very, very close. Oof, what about that, Martin?
Well, I think if Simon Davis hasn't won this, he must examine the way he dipped at the line there. But we certainly saw in this final the difference between the hurdle heights. Previously 2'9", to senior age group they step up 3 inches. And one or two of these athletes were really found out here. But look over on the far side, without a doubt, a stride short of the line, Davis was ahead. But we're hearing that Sean Adams, there on the right-hand side, that dip at the line, has got him the title. And I must say, from a technical perspective, Adams was very ropey on a number of those flights, but sheer determination looks as if it's got him home first.
Well, 54.62, 54.62. I said it might be a dead heat. They've actually separated them, and they must have done that on the third decimal place, because Adams has got it from Simon Davis. So it was the man in lane 3. Sean Adams from Hampshire in lane 3, the fastest qualifier, has beaten Simon Davis of Dorset on the outside, and that was as close as it gets.
Well, we've seen two very exciting 400-metre hurdles final. They don't get much closer than that last one in the senior boys 400-metre hurdles. We'll confirm those times and positions in a couple of moments' time. But next, it'll be the intermediate girls 800 metres.